Have you ever struggled to work out which tyres are best for you and the conditions that you ride in? My name's Max, this is the 24MX Workshop, and today we're going to help you work out the answers. Selecting the correct tyre can actually be quite a difficult task. There seems to be an ever-growing list of brands, types, and sizes of tyres to choose from. Now, top-level pros will pretty much know exactly what type of tyre they need for any given situation. But if you're not one of those guys, hopefully this video will serve as a guide as to what tyre that you should be choosing for your riding. So first things first, we need to know when to change a tyre, because obviously an old tyre isn't going to be providing optimal grip. Now, pro riders, top-level riders will often change their tyres depending on the conditions that they're riding in that weekend. But for people like me and you, that's maybe not a sustainable thing to do. So we'll often only change tyres when the tyre has come to the end of its life. Now, to look out for on an old tyre to give you a sign that you need to change it, we're looking at the knobs here. If they're rounded like we can see on this bike, we're not going to be getting optimal grip. And also, an old tyre, you might start losing these knobs as well, which isn't ideal whatsoever. Another surefire sign that your tyre is a bit too old is if the rubber is getting discoloured or if there's any cracks in the rubber as well. That means it's time to get that tyre changed. So now that we've identified that we need to replace our old worn out tyre, the first thing we need to do is make sure that we select the right size for our new tyre. Now, there's some handy information printed on the wall of the tyre to help us do this. So you can see here some numbers. The first number here is the width of the tyre in millimetres. So we've got 110 millimetre width of the tyre here. The next number across is the wall height. So that's this measurement here. Now, this number isn't actually a measurement, it's a percentage of the tyre width. So the wall height here is 90% of 110. The next reading across is the tyre rim size. So that's this measurement all the way around. Now, this is the very important one to get right, because if you select the wrong rim size, we're going to be in a situation that's not so great. We don't want that to be happening, do we? So make sure you get the right tyre size for your rim. Now, top-level pro riders will sometimes play around with wall heights and tyre width for different characteristics on the track. But for people like me and you, just normal everyday riders, the one measurement we really want to focus in on is that circumference, the rim size. The other ones we don't need to really worry about. Just make sure you look at the rim size on your old tyre and get the same one. Now, the tyres do have some more information printed on them to help us install them correctly. For example, here you can see this arrow indicating the direction that the tyre wants to rotating once installed. This is done so that we get the characteristics from the tyre that it was designed for. This is a sand scoop tyre. We want the knobbles to be facing in the correct direction. And that arrow right there helps us identify that. The final stage in selecting our new tyre is deciding which type of tyre we actually want to install. Now, there's lots of different types of tyres that will provide different characteristics that will benefit you in different situations. So depending what types of track you ride, whether that's hardpack, sand, or a mix, or what type of riding you do, whether that's trail riding, enduro, or motocross, there's different tyres that will suit you better. So let's run through the different types of tyres that you'll find out there. So the first tyre I have with me here is a hard tyre. You can see that's handily written on the wall of the tyre there. And now, hard refers to the actual construction of the rubber here. It's noticeably harder wearing and thicker rubber, which is great for dry conditions, hard pack conditions, or rocky conditions. A softer tyre will get chewed up by those conditions a lot quicker than this one here. So this is great for dry, hard pack tracks or trails where there's lots of rocks and stones. This is going to last a lot longer than your softer tyres. So the next tyre we have here is the intermediate tyre, also known as the medium tyre, which is indicated by the M right here. Now, in theory, this should be the best of both worlds. It's maybe not as long lasting as the harder tyre that we saw before, but it should provide better feeling, grip and control in more varied conditions than that harder tyre. They say that the intermediate tyre is the most cost-effective tyre out there because there's less need to change it for different conditions. If you're a hobby rider like me, just looking for a tyre that will perform well on any track or most tracks and most conditions, this might be the choice for you. Next up, we have the soft tyre, which once again is indicated with big lettering on the wall of the tyre there. Soft tyres are designed to excel in wet, muddy or sandy conditions. They'll provide excellent grip in that type of terrain. Soft tyres are often also self-cleaning, just due to the space between the tyre tread there. That will stop any mud clogging up the knobblies here. Once again, the soft tyre will provide excellent grip in muddy conditions, but if you were to try and use this bad boy on a hardpack track, it'll be chewed up real quickly and you'll come back to the pits with barely any knobblies left. Next, we have the sand tyre, which has been specifically designed to be used in those deep, sandy conditions at gnarly tracks such as Lommel in Belgium. A sand tyre is quite closely related to the soft tyre that we just saw because the rubber is quite soft, but the sand tyre has been designed to be used in those deep conditions because of the tread here. You can see it is a lot different to the square knobbles that we saw earlier on. The tread here is like a scooped out paddle, like an old paddle boat. That's to help float on top of the sand, propel you forward as well. I must mention that it's very important to install these tyres the right way. Look for the indication arrow here to tell you which way the tyres need to rotate. In this instance, it's this way, and you can see those scoops will dig into the sand, scoop up a big chunk, throw that backwards and propel you forwards. Like I said, these tyres will provide excellent grip in those conditions, way better than any other tyre that you can find. So if you are riding in the deep sandy stuff, make sure you get yourself a sand tyre. So the final tyre choice that we have here is this very gnarly looking studded tyre. Now this tyre has been designed to be used in the winter months in those icy, snowy conditions. We can see here that the knobbles have been installed with these small spikes or studs, which are supposed to dig down into the ice, into the snow, to provide much better traction in those conditions, like I say, allowing you to ride throughout the winter months. And one more very cool thing about this tyre is that it's actually made in-house here at 24MX. So here we have the different tyre choices, and hopefully this video will help you make your next tyre selection. And if you do have any more questions, please do drop them in the comments down below. And remember that all of the tyres featured in this video are available on the 24MX website. Remember to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.